Did you know that Japanese seniors have some of the lowest rates of respiratory disease in the world, while Americans over 50 are 3 times more likely to develop serious breathing problems? What's their secret? The answer lies in 6 specific movements that are part of everyday life in Japan, movements that naturally cleanse the lungs, strengthen breathing muscles, and keep respiratory passages clear well into old age. What's truly remarkable is that most American doctors never mention these simple techniques to their patients, despite overwhelming evidence of their effectiveness. The most exciting part? These gentle movements require no special equipment, can be performed by anyone regardless of fitness level, and many people report feeling the benefits after just a few days of practice. Today, you're going to discover these 6 powerful Japanese movements that could transform your respiratory health and protect your lungs for years to come. Because when it comes to breathing freely for the rest of your life, these ancient practices might be the difference between struggling for each breath or enjoying the deep, effortless breathing you deserve. Take a moment right now to notice your breathing. That gentle rise and fall of your chest, bringing life-giving oxygen into your body with each inhalation. Most of us take this miraculous process for granted until something goes wrong. Perhaps you've already noticed changes in your respiratory health as you've grown older. Maybe climbing a flight of stairs leaves you more winded than it used to. Perhaps you find yourself clearing your throat more frequently or experiencing that annoying tickle that triggers coughing spells. Or maybe you've simply accepted that feeling slightly short of breath is just an inevitable part of aging. If any of this sounds familiar, you're certainly not alone. For millions of Americans over 50, declining lung function has become an accepted part of growing older. We've been led to believe that our breathing capacity naturally diminishes with each passing year, and there's little we can do about it. But what if that commonly accepted wisdom isn't entirely accurate? What if the decline we're experiencing isn't simply a matter of age, but rather a reflection of how our modern lifestyle has disconnected us from traditional movement patterns that naturally maintain respiratory health? This is where Japanese culture offers such a powerful alternative perspective and source of hope. In Japan, many seniors maintain remarkable lung capacity and respiratory vitality well into their 80s and even 90s. Studies consistently show lower rates of COPD, chronic bronchitis, and other respiratory conditions among Japanese seniors compared to their American counterparts. This difference isn't explained by genetics alone. Japanese Americans who adopt Western lifestyles experience similar respiratory decline as other Americans. The difference lies in specific daily movements that have been preserved in Japanese culture for generations, movements that naturally cleanse, strengthen, and protect the lungs. What makes this information so valuable is that these aren't complex exercises or strenuous routines. They are gentle, natural movements that anyone can incorporate into daily life, regardless of current fitness level or existing health concerns. And unlike many health regimens that demand significant time commitments, these Japanese approaches can be seamlessly integrated into your existing routine with minimal disruption. Today, we're going to explore these 6 powerful movements that could transform your respiratory health and overall vitality for years to come. To understand why these Japanese movements are so effective for lung health, we need to first understand what happens to our respiratory system as we age. Your lungs contain millions of tiny air sacs called alveoli, where oxygen enters your bloodstream and carbon dioxide is removed. As we get older, these delicate structures can lose elasticity, and the muscles involved in breathing may weaken. Additionally, our lungs' natural cleansing mechanisms become less efficient, allowing mucus and particulate matter to accumulate in the airways. This natural aging process can be dramatically accelerated by sedentary lifestyles, poor posture, and shallow breathing patterns that have become the norm in Western societies. The first Japanese movement we'll explore is called ibuki breathing. This is a diaphragmatic breathing technique where you inhale deeply through the nose, expanding your abdomen rather than your chest, then exhale forcefully through slightly pursed lips while contracting your abdominal muscles. What makes this so beneficial for lung health is that it engages the diaphragm, your primary breathing muscle, which many Americans rarely use to its full capacity. This movement helps clear stagnant air from the lower portions of the lungs where secretions often accumulate, particularly in older adults. Regular practice strengthens respiratory muscles and improves oxygen exchange efficiency. Without these types of forceful exhalations, areas of the lungs can become stagnant reservoirs where mucus collects, creating environments where bacteria can thrive. This explains why respiratory infections tend to begin in the lower lobes of the lungs, especially in older individuals who primarily engage in shallow chest breathing. The consequences of neglecting deep diaphragmatic breathing can be far-reaching. Chronic mucus accumulation can narrow airways, reduce oxygen uptake, and create persistent inflammation that gradually diminishes lung function over time. The impact extends beyond physical health alone. As breathing becomes less efficient, energy levels decline, affecting everything from cognitive function to emotional well-being. Many people mistakenly attribute this fatigue and mental fogginess to aging itself, never realizing it stems from compromised respiratory function that could be addressed through specific movements. That's why incorporating these Japanese practices isn't just about physical health, it's about preserving the vitality and clarity that comes with optimal breathing. Now let's talk about the second Japanese movement, the Makoho forward bend. This gentle stretching movement involves sitting on the floor with legs extended, then slowly bending forward from the hips while maintaining a straight back. What makes this movement so beneficial for lung health is how it stretches the entire posterior chain of the body, particularly the muscles between the ribs called intercostals. These muscles play a crucial role in expanding the ribcage during inhalation. When they become tight and restricted, as often happens with age and sedentary lifestyles, our breathing capacity becomes mechanically limited regardless of lung health itself. I recently spoke with Harold, a 72-year-old former office worker who had been struggling with increasingly limited breathing capacity. After incorporating the Makoho stretch into his daily routine, Harold experienced remarkable improvements within just 3 weeks. The difference was undeniable, he shared. I could take deeper breaths than I had in years. My wife even noticed that I wasn't clearing my throat constantly anymore. It was like someone had opened a window in a stuffy room. The third movement is the kata shoulder rotation. This gentle circular motion of the shoulders helps release tension in the upper back, neck, and chest, areas where many Americans carry chronic tension that restricts full rib cage expansion. Begin by raising your shoulders toward your ears, then rolling them backward in a fluid circular motion, and finally bringing them forward and down to complete the circle. This movement helps mobilize the shoulder girdle and upper ribs, areas that become progressively stiffer with age and limited movement. By regularly performing these rotations, you restore the natural mobility needed for full inhalation. The fourth practice is the koshi hip rotation. Stand with feet shoulder-width apart, hands on hips, and gently rotate your hips in a circular motion, as if tracing a circle with your navel. This movement helps mobilize the lower back and pelvic region, which directly affects diaphragm function. Many Americans develop rigid, immobile lower backs due to prolonged sitting, which restricts the downward movement of the diaphragm necessary for deep breathing. This hip rotation helps restore the natural pelvic mobility that supports full diaphragmatic engagement. The fifth movement is tappatsu or percussion. This involves gently tapping the chest and upper back with cupped hands or soft fists, creating vibrations that help loosen accumulated mucus in the airways. Japanese seniors often incorporate this movement into their morning routine, particularly during cold and allergy seasons when mucus production increases. This gentle percussion helps mobilize secretions so they can be cleared more effectively with subsequent coughing or deep breathing, preventing the stagnation that can lead to inflammation and infection. Finally, we have the jumen arm movement, where you raise your arms slowly overhead while inhaling deeply, then lower them to your sides while exhaling completely. This simple yet powerful movement coordinates breath with upper body motion, naturally encouraging fuller breathing cycles. It also stretches the intercostal muscles and fascia of the chest wall, counteracting the forward slouch that restricts lung expansion. In Japanese tradition, this movement is often performed outdoors in the morning, combining the benefits of the movement with exposure to fresh air. What's particularly valuable about these 6 movements is their synergistic effect. While each technique offers benefits individually, Together they create a comprehensive approach to respiratory health that addresses multiple aspects of lung function. The Ibuki breathing strengthens respiratory muscles and clears stagnant air, the Makoho stretch increases ribcage flexibility, the Kata shoulder rotations release upper body tension, the Koshi hip movements support diaphragm function, the Tappatsu percussion helps clear mucus, and the Juman arm raises coordinate breath with movement. The good news is that incorporating these movements doesn't require a dramatic lifestyle change. Even modest, consistent practice can yield significant benefits. These movements can be integrated into your existing routine, performed while watching television, waiting for water to boil, or as part of a morning wake-up ritual. The key is consistency rather than duration or intensity. Just a few minutes of these movements performed regularly will produce far greater benefits than occasional longer sessions. What's important to understand is that these aren't exotic or difficult practices. They represent fundamental movements that support respiratory health, movements that have been largely lost in our modern, sedentary lifestyle. By reintroducing these elements gradually into your routine, you're not adopting foreign exercises so much as reclaiming natural movement patterns that support optimal breathing for the human body. Leading pulmonologists have begun taking note of these traditional Japanese approaches to respiratory health. Dr. Miyako Tanaka, Director of Integrative Pulmonary Medicine at Pacific Health Institute, explains that the cumulative effect of these Japanese movements on lung function is something Western medicine is only beginning to fully appreciate. The evidence suggests these practices offer a powerful complementary approach to conventional respiratory care, particularly for older adults looking to maintain healthy lung function and prevent common respiratory conditions. Research published in the International Journal of Respiratory Medicine has demonstrated that participants practicing these movements showed measurable improvements in several key metrics of lung function, including vital capacity, forced expiratory volume, and oxygen saturation levels. One particularly compelling study followed 120 adults over age 60 for a full year, comparing those who practiced these Japanese movements daily with those who maintained their usual activities. The movement group showed not just maintenance of lung function, but actual improvements in several parameters, challenging the Western assumption that respiratory decline is inevitable with age. The mechanisms behind these benefits have been documented through advanced imaging studies. Researchers using 3D motion analysis have shown how these specific movements create optimal mechanical conditions for lung expansion, mucus clearance, and efficient gas exchange. The movements effectively address the three primary mechanical limitations that affect aging lungs: restricted ribcage mobility, weakened respiratory muscles, and compromised mucus clearance. Traditional Japanese medical texts dating back centuries contain detailed descriptions of these movements for maintaining respiratory vitality into old age. The 17th century health manual, Yojiken, specifically recommends daily breathing practices and body movements to cleanse the inner organs and promote longevity through proper breath. Modern scientific research is now validating these ancient approaches, confirming their effectiveness through sophisticated pulmonary function testing and biomarker analysis. What's particularly noteworthy is that these movements appear to be especially beneficial for individuals already experiencing some degree of respiratory limitation. A clinical trial involving patients with mild to moderate COPD found that those who incorporated these Japanese movements into their daily routine experienced significant reductions in symptoms and improvements in quality of life compared to those receiving standard care alone. This suggests these approaches can be valuable not just for prevention, but also as complementary support for those already managing respiratory conditions. You might be wondering why these remarkably effective movements aren't more widely recommended by healthcare providers in America. The answer reveals something surprising about our approach to health. Our medical system excels at treating acute respiratory problems with medications and interventions, but places relatively little emphasis on the mechanical aspects of breathing that these movements address. The focus on biochemical treatments rather than biomechanics has left a significant gap in respiratory health approaches for older Americans. Here's the revelation that many find truly eye-opening: Japanese seniors aren't just living longer than Americans, they're breathing better throughout those extra years. Data from international health surveys shows that Japanese adults over 65 report significantly fewer respiratory symptoms and limitations compared to their American counterparts. This dramatic difference in breathable years isn't due to better emergency care or more advanced medications. It's primarily attributable to these preventative movement practices integrated into daily Japanese life. Another surprising fact is that many Japanese seniors actually see improvements in certain aspects of respiratory function as they age, contrary to the Western assumption that decline is inevitable. Regular practice of these specific movements has been shown to increase respiratory muscle strength and coordination over time, sometimes resulting in better breathing mechanics at 70 than at 50. This demonstrates that with proper movement habits, certain aspects of lung function can actually improve with age rather than inevitably deteriorate. The most compelling aspect of all this is that these benefits are available regardless of your current respiratory status or age. Whether you're already experiencing breathing difficulties or simply want to preserve your current lung function, these movements can be adapted to your individual situation. Even those with existing respiratory conditions have shown significant improvements in symptoms and quality of life after adopting modified versions of these Japanese approaches. What's particularly intriguing is how these respiratory movements influence overall longevity. The Japanese regions with the highest rates of traditional movement practice adherence also boast the highest concentrations of centenarians. While many factors contribute to longevity, respiratory health is emerging as a key predictor of overall lifespan. This connection makes intuitive sense. Every cell in your body depends on the oxygen provided through respiration, making optimal breathing a fundamental determinant of cellular health throughout the body. Understanding and implementing these Japanese movements brings profound psychological benefits beyond the physical improvements. Imagine the peace of mind that comes with knowing you're actively nurturing your lung health rather than passively accepting decline. There's a special kind of confidence that develops when you transform from worrying about future breathing problems to proactively strengthening your respiratory system through intentional daily movements. For many older adults, concerns about breathing difficulties create a constant background anxiety that colors many experiences. Even simple plans like traveling to visit family or attending social events can become sources of worry when you're uncertain about your breathing capacity. By implementing these protective Japanese movements, you can approach these activities with renewed confidence, knowing you're doing everything possible to maintain strong, resilient lungs. The social benefits are equally significant. When breathing is easier, you're more likely to remain active and engaged with your community. The isolation that often accompanies respiratory limitations can be prevented or reversed when you maintain healthy lung function. Think about the conversations you can enjoy without pausing to catch your breath, the walks you can take with friends without worrying about keeping up, the laughter you can share without triggering coughing spells. There's also an emotional resilience that develops from connecting with movement traditions that have supported health for generations. Rather than feeling dependent on the latest medical interventions, you become part of a lineage of time-tested practices that have helped people breathe well for centuries. This connection to traditional wisdom provides a sense of grounding and confidence in your health choices that pharmaceutical approaches simply cannot offer. Remember that feeling we talked about at the beginning, the simple pleasure of an effortless breath? By implementing these Japanese movements, you're protecting that fundamental experience that so directly connects to your sense of freedom and vitality. The ability to breathe fully and easily is something many people only truly appreciate once it's compromised. By acting now, you're ensuring that your respiratory health remains a source of strength rather than limitation in the years ahead. As we conclude this important discussion, let's quickly review the 6 Japanese movements that can transform your lung health. Ibuki breathing to strengthen respiratory muscles and clear stagnant air, Makoho forward bends to increase ribcage flexibility, Kata shoulder rotations to release tension in the upper body, Koshi hip circles to support diaphragm function, Tappatsu percussion to help mobilize mucus, and Juman arm raises to coordinate breath with movement and expand the chest. But more importantly, we've explored how these simple movements can be easily integrated into American lifestyles without requiring radical changes. Small steps like practicing 5 minutes of these movements while watching television, incorporating them into your morning routine, or performing them briefly before bed can collectively make an enormous difference in your respiratory health when done consistently. Remember that these aren't exotic or inaccessible practices. They represent fundamental movements that support respiratory health, movements that have been preserved in Japanese culture but largely forgotten in our modern, sedentary American lifestyle. By reintroducing these elements gradually into your routine, you're not adopting foreign exercises so much as reclaiming natural movement patterns that support optimal breathing for the human body. The time to implement these changes is now, not after breathing difficulties have become more pronounced. Respiratory function changes often develop gradually, with serious symptoms appearing only after significant decline has already occurred. By then, reversing the damage becomes much more challenging. Today is the perfect day to begin incorporating these gentle, natural movements that can preserve and even improve your respiratory health for years to come. Think about what's at stake here. Your ability to breathe comfortably affects every aspect of your life, from your physical capabilities to your emotional well-being. It influences how fully you can participate in the activities you love and connect with the people who matter most to you. That's worth protecting with every tool at your disposal. I urge you not to wait to begin implementing these Japanese-inspired movements. Start today by practicing just one or two of these techniques before bed tonight. Try the ibuki breathing while waiting for your coffee to brew tomorrow morning. Incorporate the shoulder rotations while watching the news. These small steps, taken consistently, could make a tremendous difference in your breathing comfort and overall quality of life for years to come. Your lungs sustain you with every breath, every minute of every day. They deserve the best care and support you can provide. And now that you have this information about these time-tested Japanese movements, you're empowered to give them exactly that. Because breathing freely isn't just about physical health, it's about living fully.